This is the final step in our CVP exercise. In this final question, we are calculating the amount of units that a company needs to sell in order to make a target profit. So let's start by remembering from our past video what the equation is to calculate the number of units required to reach a target profit. That equation is fixed costs plus the target profit divided by the contribution margin per unit. And as a reminder, total fixed costs equal $290,100. So what's different about this question? Well, in our prior question about target profit, things were simple because we only sold one product. But now in this question, you can see instead of one product, our company is now selling two products, and each product has a different sales price, different variable costs, and a different contribution margin. So in our target profit equation, the denominator, contribution margin per unit, we don't have only one unit. Because of that, we need to calculate a weighted average contribution margin per unit and use that for the denominator of our target profit equation. This table is set up to help us calculate the weighted average contribution margin per unit. So we're going to start with the product 1 column, and I'm going to fill in the information from our data set about product 1. Now I'm going to fill in the new information that I have about product 2 that is in our question. Notice that product 2 has a substantially higher contribution margin of $17 compared to $2.50 for product 1. So that's step 1, is to fill in the information about each product. Now we need to take what's called the sales mix into account. And the sales mix describes how much do you sell one product relative to the other, because in most cases, customers will buy different amounts of the different products that a company offers. We are provided with information about the sales mix in the question stem. So according to our paragraph here, we expect to sell 6 units of the original product for every 1 unit of the new product. That is what's called our sales mix. Now I will enter the sales mix for each product into the table. So product 1, we sell 6 units for every 1 of product 2. So I will put 6 under product 1 and the 1 in the product 2 column. The next step is to add up our sales mix. So if 6 product 1s are sold for every 1 product 2, the total units purchased in the sales mix is 7. Now we need to calculate the total contribution margin provided by each product for every set of 7 that are sold. And we're going to do that by multiplying the contribution margin per unit by the sales mix for each product. So for product 1, we get $15, and for product 2, we get $17. Then we're going to add those two together to get a total contribution margin of $32. That is telling us that for every 7 units that we sell, we have a total contribution margin for all of those 7 units combined of $32. There's only one more step to get to our weighted average contribution margin per unit, and that is to divide the $32 of total contribution margin by the 7 units in the sales mix. When we do that, we get $4.57 per unit as our weighted average contribution margin. Note that I have rounded the result to the nearest cent. We've done a lot of work to get to the weighted average contribution margin per unit, and now that we've calculated it, we can then plug that value into our target profit equation that we've seen before. So let's go ahead and fill out our equation using the fixed costs that we've calculated before at $290,100 and using the target profit listed in the question of $260,100. And finally, for the denominator, we use our weighted average contribution margin of $4.57. When we perform that computation, we get to 120,394 units. Note that I have rounded to the nearest whole unit. We have just determined that Johnny's Manufacturing needs to sell a total of 120,394 units in order to meet its target profit goal. That takes into account that the company sells more than one product, and that they have a sales mix that's different for each product, and that each product has its own different sales price and variable costs. Let's take this one step further. And what if you need to take the total 120,394 units and determine how many of those would be product 1 and how many of those would be product 2? So we go back up to our sales mix and we see that product 1 represents 6 out of every 7 units and product 2 represents 1 out of every 7 units. So you'll take your 120,394 units and you'll take 6 out of 7 of them. Those will be product 1. And then you will take the remaining 1/7 of them, and that will be the product 2. So if you do the math and then round to the nearest unit, you will get 103,195 units of product 1 and 17,199 units of product 2 in order to meet the target profit. And that is the end of our CVP exercise.